welcome. I'm Mohammed Adan and you're watching the English news program on Somaliland National Television. Let's start with the main stories making headlines. President of Somaliland visit to France is published in French newspapers. Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Commerce return to Somaliland. Cairo is shocked after 3 bomb attacks leave 5 dead. The visit of Somaliland's President Ahmed Mohamed Mohamed Silami to France had an interesting effect on French media outlets' headlines, including French newspapers which have been publishing several write-ups on the President's diplomatic visit to France. President Silami held meetings with key French officials, including French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius and a number of business giants pursuing investment in Somaliland, which included the prestigious French company Poirier. During the visit of Somaliland's president in France, the president and his delegation held diplomatic meetings which resulted in new French and Somaliland platform of political and economic and security ties. As the president and his delegation confirmed, meetings held between the two nations were successful, during which the French government officials and the delegation of Somaliland's president agreed on strengthening diplomatic ties. Meanwhile, the French government pledged closer cooperation with Somaliland's government and commended Somaliland's government for its pivotal role in further developing the burgeoning economy of Somaliland. On the other hand, meetings held between the president's delegation and several business giants, including Poirier, were focused on ways of transferring a large-scale French investment to Somaliland, in which a number of prospective development projects will include. As part of the government's platform towards international cooperation, more have been achieved in ensuring diplomatic ties with the world and welcoming all sorts of international cooperation and investment which are for the benefit of Somaliland and its citizens. Somaliland's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mohamed Bihi Yunus, alongside the Minister of Commerce and International Investment, Dr. Mohamed Abdullahi Umar, returned to Somaliland with officials from Vitol Company from the UK.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Commerce and International Investment returned to Somaliland alongside a delegation from UK. This delegation is comprised of a number of officials from the oil company Vitol, who's willing to invest in Berbera's port. Vitol, which is one of the largest oil companies worldwide, went to visit Berbera port and was introduced to it for the first time. The delegation also met with Somaliland's Vice President Abdurrahman Abdullah Ismail Sayli'i at the Presidency House in Hargeisa, and they spoke about a wide array of future projects this company is willing to implement in the port of Berbera. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, on a press release at Igal International Airport, further elaborated on the purpose of their visit to also making statements about the talks between Somaliland and Somalia. The minister also stated that this company, with a budget of $303 million last year, is now focused on implementing several projects in the coastal city of Berbera.
Local Council of Ainabo District, on a meeting with residents of that district, spoke about the plans in the pipeline to implement.
Members of the local council spoke about the achievements made and obstacles faced last year, however, elaborated further on their plans for this year. The event had in attendance a group of high-ranking officials of Sarar region, including the governor of Sarar region, Ahmed Ali Noor, vice governor and chief commander of that region, alongside cultural leaders, religious leaders and intellectuals. The first speaker at the event was the deputy of the local council for Ainabo district, Umar Mahmoud Mousse, spoke to the attendees on the results of the second assembly held by Ainabo's local council, which lasted for 12 days. Other keynote figures also spoke at the event, including the mayor of Ainabo district. High-ranking officials of the district elaborated on issues to be resolved in the district, such as building roads and strengthening security, and a number of important issues.
Coordinator of Adult Health Services, Dr. Abdurrahman Jama, provided an exclusive interview to SLN TV on achievements made on several forefronts. Coordinator of all those health services, Abdurrahman Jama, speaking to the reporters, stated that the health sector has made a number of steps forward towards ensuring that the health coverage being provided for citizens has made progress. A number of MCHs has been built in urban and rural areas of all the region. Several hospitals were built or renovated, and a number of prospective projects underway will include several health improvement efforts, said Aldol's coordinator of health services. The coordinator stressed the underlying necessity of further improving the healthcare services being provided for citizens residing in the region and ensuring that every citizen is able to receive medical attention. You're still tuned into the English news program on Somaliland National Television, the only Somali-speaking channel with an English news program. Now for the international headlines in detail. Egypt's capital city was reeling on Friday after 3 bomb attacks which left at least 5 dead and more than 100 wounded. Early in the morning, Cairo's central police headquarters was rocked by a huge explosion when a suicide car bomber blew himself up in the car park of the security compound. It killed 4 people, 3 of them policemen, and injured more than 90. Egyptian state television quoted witnesses as saying that gunmen on motorbikes opened fire after the blast. The large concrete building was left badly damaged with debris strewn across the street. Hours later, another attack killed a police officer and injured more than a dozen when, according to security sources, a person drove past military vehicles throwing a hand grenade at them. There was also a third blast close to a police station in Giza, a district on the outskirts of Cairo. No casualties have been reported there so far. An Al-Qaeda-inspired militant group, Ansar Belt al-Maqdis, has claimed responsibility for the attack on the police headquarters. The Muslim Brotherhood condemned the attack, saying they wanted a peaceful revolution. Correspondents in Cairo say the attack sends several messages to the current government, including that this kind of attack can reach the heart of Cairo. The 3 bomb attacks come just 1 day before the 3rd anniversary of the January 25th revolution, when Egypt's former dictator Hosni Mubarak was overthrown. They also come on the eve of a planned general uprising by the Muslim Brotherhood. Face-to-face meeting in doubt for Syrian rivals at peace talks. The UN and Arab League's special representative to Syria will make a fresh effort on Friday to bring all sides round the table for peace talks in Geneva. Lakhdar Brahimi is expected to shuttle between Syrian government figures and opposition leaders, some of whom remain deeply divided about ways to end deadly conflict. The first day of talks on Wednesday was dominated by fierce rhetoric from President Bashar al-Assad's government and its foes, with each accusing the other of atrocities and showing no sign of compromise. There were, however, positive signs from all sides. Some concessions may be agreed to allow prisoner exchange and establish aid corridors. Antonio Guterres, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, told press that there is a desperate need to ease the plight of millions of people on the ground. It's not so difficult to define what needs to be done, he said. It's a matter of goodwill, leadership and initiative of those political leaders who really have an influence in the way things can develop in relations to the Syria crisis. Officials hope they can salvage the process by starting with more modest practical measures and avoid talk of removing President Bashar al-Assad, which has proved divisive. 30 missing and 5 dead after blaze at old people's home in Quebec. At least 5 elderly people are dead and more than 30 unaccounted for after a fire ripped through an old people's home in Quebec. The fire broke out just after midnight local time at the residence de Enverly-Silver, around 220 kilometers east of Quebec City. Firefighters desperately battled the blaze, hampered by minus 20 degrees Celsius temperatures, which caused equipment and water to freeze. Most of those who lived in the home used wheelchairs and walking frames. Many also had Alzheimer's disease. Emergency crews managed to rescue around 20 residents, but reported seeing and hearing people trapped inside who they were unable to get to. Investigators began searching the ruined building, now covered in large hanging isles from the fire hoses, looking for the cause of the blaze. Officials say they hope at least some of those unaccounted for have been visiting family. Canada's Prime Minister Stephen Harper said there's little doubt the death toll will rise. That's it for this edition of the English News Programme on Somaliland National Television. Thanks very much for being with us. You can catch us at the same time tomorrow. Until then, take care and goodbye.